So one last Christmas stocking psalm to go, Psalm 90. And Psalm 90 is a really good one to know. It's kind of a classic psalm. You know, if you're looking at the whole Psalter of 150 psalms, maybe this would land on top 10 list, top 15 of just a psalm, just to be, I don't know, a little bit literate in what a psalm is. 90 is a good one to turn to anytime. Psalm 90 is particularly great for New Year's Day and a new year. So I'm really psyched to take a look at Psalm 90. And beyond anything that I imagined, Psalm 90 talks a lot about time. So what a great topic for New Year's Day Sunday. So let's walk through Psalm 90 and take a look at all its references to time. My gosh, it's almost hidden within every single verse. The very first verse declares that God has been the dwelling place. God is a home for humans, not just today, but across all generations. Generations. Every single generation of humanity. That's a long time. Generations. That's how long God has been around. The next verse says, even beyond human existence, before God even made mountains and the earth, God existed. So God has been around pre-human, pre-creation. God, in fact, is everlasting. It's kind of mind-blowing when you think about that. Time and what is time to God. Wow, God, you've been there across all time. And then the psalm continues to talk about time. And it kind of makes a comparison between human comprehension of time and God's comprehension of time. So say, for example, humans, we're just kind of dust. We're here for a short time. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. That's, what our reference point in the vast scape of time is. And to humans, 1,000 years is a lot of time. I mean, for us, 1 year is a long time. Say 5 years, and a kid, ages 0 to 5. Oh my gosh, all that happens in that time. 10 years, a decade, 20 years. Oh my goodness, all that can happen in time. On New Year's Day, I'm mindful of 100 years ago. 1923, 100 years ago to our minds. Oh my goodness, that seems like a long time ago. But how about 1,000 years? That kind of breaks our brains as humans. 1,000 years. Imagine that in the human brain. Wow, 1,000 years. Human. But to God, 1,000 years? Meh. It's like a day to God. Or a watch in the night, which is just a few hours. Or it's like a dream. What was that God's thinking about? 1,000 years? Was that the dream where I woke up late and I was running to get a test? Or was that the dream where I was flying? 1,000 years. Meh. To God. 1,000 years to God are like grass. Just like grass comes and goes. Psalm 90 really drives home the point. Humans, what we think about time, and what God thinks about time. Then Psalm 90 goes a little bit dark. Psalm 90 explores what the human experience is within the straitjacket of time. Psalm 90 says, within our human existence, our experience of time, we experience torment. We are just so time-bound and we're kind of stuck here and things happen. In this psalm, it says maybe God's mad at us and we just feel so overwhelmed in our lives and we've made terrible mistakes. You kind of want to escape time. And then, you live your life, you make mistakes, and after all that torment, life just ends. Maybe if you're lucky, you live to be 70 or 80 years, but even then, it's nothing but toil and trouble. Wow, kind of a dark view of life. And then, poof, life's over. Wow, pretty dark. And you may be thinking, here we go again. Sarah's chosen another psalm that has some beautiful verses, but first we have to trudge through the darkness. And the darkness in Psalm 90 is pretty dang dark. It's an abyss. Psalm 90 leads us to the black hole of human existence. When we face a black hole or an abyss or that feeling of inadequacy, why am I here? Is God angry at me? I've made terrible mistakes. What is the point of my life? Psalm 90 takes us right there to that dark abyss. And maybe when we face that dark existential abyss, we think, let's avoid that. Let's not talk about that. Let's talk about something else. Avoidance. Maybe when we face that abyss of what's the point, we escape. Let's just have fun. Let's eat, drink, let's be merry. But Psalm 90 says, no, let's face it. Let's face the dark black hole at the center of the human soul. Ugh. When Psalm 90 faces that darkness, Psalm 90 asks a very hard question. Kind of like, God, why are you doing this to us? Why? What's the point? Why are you tormenting us? It's a dark, dark question. And it gets asked and accused all across the Bible. What do we do with that question? Is God tormenting us in this straitjacket of time in our human existence? But even Psalm 90 isn't certain that that's the reason for human torment. While in verse 7, 90 asks, are you angry? I'm just feeling so overwhelmed, Lord. But later in the psalm, verse 14, the psalmist says, oh, Lord, send us your steadfast love, that we might have joy. So it says that God is steadfast in God's love, and that is a huge, huge thing of the whole Bible. Where are we to go in answering these hard questions? Where are we to find wisdom today? This is another reason why this psalm is a great psalm for New Year's Day. Because this is the time of year where we are tempted to escape the fact that we are human. This is the time of year where we say, it's a new year, new me. I'm going to start over. And that's a great thing. It's a great opportunity. I kind of like the new year. And it gets me thinking about, what might I do differently this year? What might I improve within myself? And I think this is a great thing, because we're always hopefully learning and growing and improving such a good thing. But in our culture, in every culture, there is this temptation to fix ourselves as though we are not human. And Psalm 90 contains within it the wisdom. You are human, and there's no cure for it. There is no cure for being human. Inescapable. You are inescapably human. And God is inescapably God. Two different things. Don't even try to think that you are God, human. You are time-bound. You are, mistake-ridden. And you have angst about your purpose and what you are to do. Don't forget that. Face that abyss, Psalm 90 says. So I think any sort of project we might have in any new year or any time, I think it needs to pass the Psalm 90 test. Is any step we take toward betterment rooted in the reality that we are human and it's incurable? We are incurably, inescapably human. Face the abyss, the truth, the reality of limitation. Step one. And don't escape into my next plan, my next scheme, my next self-improvement, and then the next thing is we give it up and move on, cover it up, and don't know how to try again in this thing called life. Psalm 90 says, you must face the abyss. Step one, face it. And then step two, question, face it. But there's things you can do within this inescapable human skin that we live in. The latter part of Psalm 90 provides some North Stars for us. Let's take a look at the latter part of Psalm 90. It's a prayer. I think it's a prayer kind of in 4 steps. Face the abyss and turn to God and say, Lord, teach us. That's pretty cool. We can turn to God, and God is a teacher who's willing to collaborate with us in this abyss purpose vacuum. Teach us. Teach us what? Teach us to count our days. What does that mean? How do we learn to count our days? Is that kind of being awake in our lives and not just seeing a day after a day after a day is just a blur? Teach us to count our days. See each day as a gift. Teach us to see each day as a unique gift. Why? This is so great. So that we may gain a wise heart. So that we may gain a wise heart. Not new looks, not fame, not fortune, but a wise heart. We have this cosmic teacher who will show us how to look at time in our days with the purpose that we actually might get a little traction in gaining not intellectual capability, but a wise heart. The prayer continues, verse 14. Give us daily steadfast love every morning. Oh, what a great prayer for every single day, every single moment. I keep thinking, I've got it together. Well, why do I feel like this today? No. Lord, give me some more steadfast love this morning also. This moment also. Better strategy. so that we can rejoice and be glad. Wow! How did Psalm 90 go from abyss, we're terminally human, to we can rejoice and be glad every day? How does that happen? We look to our source and ask for daily, steadfast love, God's steadfast love. In seeking that, we get on that path of joy. The prayer continues. Verse 16. Then the psalm says, "Let us see, Lord, what you are doing and your power." So I kind of like that. You know, we can have this theology and this ideal about God and collaborating with God and God helping us, but then there's this human need. Can you show us something concrete, Lord? And I was thinking it works as step 3, because maybe step 1, when we learn to count our days and have wisdom in our days, and, in step 2, when we receive God's other gift about time, we're ready to actually see what God's up to. Oh, we can maybe see God is at work and God has power. The 4th step, give us grace. It's not enough that the psalmist is asking for a lot of steadfast love. The psalm continues with, oh, by the way, another dollop of grace, please. Show us your favor. And then the psalm pivots from taking in, seeking God's help and collaboration with this project called life. And then it pivots with prosper the work of our hands. In other words, use us. Use us. It goes from inside to service outside. I think this is a pretty good New Year's plan, New Year's prayer for setting out on any adventure. Our lives are a gift. The whole thing is a gift. But when we're in that abyss, it's so hard to see it. This psalm gives us the gift of processing, the gift of collaborating, a gift of prayer for how, with God, we unwrap the gift of our life. A prayer can help us unwrap that gift that is lodged within us and that we unleash into the world. And when we unleash it, with God's help, we help others unleash their gifts. And then all people aren't as lonely, as frightened, or as anxious as they might be. Go and be that gift of God in 2023. Amen.